Hello, Reb Shimon. Happy anniversary to the Rebbe. It's the Rebbe's anniversary tonight. Hey, Howard. It's Yudal Kislev. It's a big day. The day Chassidim are connected to the Rebbe. We're going to learn a interesting mimer in Teidi Lecha Lach Hayafa Benashim. And the Rebbe says it's the day of his kashrus, of our connection to him and the Rebbetzin. So, learning in honor of our kashrus to the Rebbe tonight. So the mimer says like this: it's Parshas Vayetze, and this is a pasuk in Shir Hashirim. So let me just bring up the pasuk. Says like this. Have the translation in English. I sent it in with a note. So it says, hold on. It says, the pasuk says like this: if you don't understand, Teidi means from the word knowledge. If you don't know the beauty of the woman, see loch beikvehatzon. So there's a solution. So go your way in the footsteps of the flocks. It means go to the sheep. And and pasture the young goats. Al mishkanai saroyim. On the Mishkanai Saroyim means on the place Mishkanais, from the word Mishkan, the dwellings of the shepherds. So this is a pasuk in Shir Hashirim, that if you can't get to the Yofa Benashim, the beauty of the woman, so go the path of the sheep and graze by the resting place, by the Mishkan, the dwelling of the shepherds. We'll see what all this means. In Echsiv it says like this. The verse teaches us, the Torah tells us about our mother Rachel, that she was beautiful in Tohar and beautiful in look. So the Alter Rebbe explains what's the difference between Tohar and Mara. So the Rebbe says Yifas Tohar is B'tzir ha'evarim, that her physical body shape is the image of her limbs. Lafit chunam b'midaisam, they were in a proportionate way, in a beautiful shape. That's Tohar. Bifas Mara, but what is the beauty of Mara? Is beziv v'hoid klaster upon him. Is the shining. Ziv is a shine that radiates from the face. She had a beautiful she radiated beauty from her face. And she had that kind of a shining face, like you say about a person. That person has a shining face. So what does this mean in Avodas Hashem, in our service of God? And Rachel she represents Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael is the gathering place of all the souls of the Jewish people that are called Rachel. The Jewish people are called Rachel. And one of our names are called Rachel. Why? Hashem Pasuk on the verse that says, Kerachel, like a sheep, a young sheep, Lifnei goizazeh ne'elama, before the sheep goes to be grazed, gets silent. It says, what does that mean? That the Jewish people, that there's an experience that the sheep goes through, represents the Jewish people, that how does it achieve what happens in a time of sharing of its wool is the silence. So the silence is the point here, that the silence of the sheep represents the bittul, the nullification of the Jewish people. So he explains what this all means. The Indian idea is like this. The verse teaches us, it says, Nasa Adam, let's make man, b'tzalmeinu, in our tzelem, pirish b'tzalmeinu, k'moshe kosev, like it says, al dmus hakisei, dmus k'mari Adam, that when Yecheskel sees the image of man sitting on the chariot in the prophecy or the vision of the Merkava, of the chariot, he sees the image of man sitting. It looked like the shape of a person. And that is what does it mean, the shape of the person? Different components. And the different components represents the different midos of Hashem, the attributes of Hashem. Like it says, L'cha Hashem HaGedula, right? To you have Gedula. What's Gedula? Gedula is another term for chesed, for kindness. Vagvura, which is the severity. It means all the midos are attributes of God. V'chein hu b'nefesh Adam. Also, a person is made up of different components. That's why our shape is in the shape of Hashem in B'tzalmeinu. When it says in the Tzelem of Hashem, is that we also are made up of those components, the 10 midos, which is Zay midos. We also have the midos of Av and Yira, love and fear. Right? It's how we apply that love and fear. Do we apply it to holy things, to godly things, or is it things that we love worldly things, that we love, and we're scared of worldly things, that we have fears of worldly things. Like the Rebbe just on to Maimer now, the Rebbe says a person who has love for acquiring things, or fear for losing things, right? So, but the midos are there, and we should apply them obviously to kedusha. But even if a person is to apply their midos, their attributes, their emotional connection to godly things, it's limited. We're limited, so therefore our feelings are limited, and therefore we have what's called gvul. We have limitations, and we can't be compared to the infinite light, which has to the attributes of God. Just like God is infinite, His midos are infinite. There's no end to His chesed. There's no end to His gvura. Imagine such a concept. So how do you connect that you should bring upon yourself the light of the love of the infinite into your finite limitations? The only way to do it is bittul. It means you have the tools for the 7 midos, but if they're going to be inexpressive in the way that you define them, so how are you going to be able to be a vessel for the way they are infinite, the way Hashem has them? So the only way is totally be bottled. Get yourself out, totally be nullified of expressing those midos, and let Hashem express His midos through you. That's what it means to be bottled, to be nullified. Your soul has to be totally nullified to the existence of God. You have to be like earth and stones. The which is like a stone, could be built into anything. So too, you have to have no shape, no expansion of how you love Hashem, and that should meet God's loving, because there's no comparison. So how could you connect to the infinite light? Is to be void of any kind of expression, and let Hashem express Himself through you. And that's what it means that a Rachel, a sheep, before it shares, it's silent of expression. Because by expressing that, we've learned this a few times. This is the whole idea of today's is the anniversary of the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin, that by a marriage, the woman doesn't respond. Because by responding, when the husband says, Hari Atma Kudeshesli, the Jewish custom is unlike in other circles where the woman says, I do, what have you. In Jewish tradition, the woman doesn't say anything, even though we have to come on to the rule of Shtika Kahida, because we need her consent. So how do we have her consent if she doesn't respond? Because she doesn't protest. So that's a limud, though, right? We have a limud in Torah. The Torah says that if a person says something to someone else, right? If you tell someone, you owe me $100, and the person doesn't say, I don't know what you're talking about. The person's quiet. Torah Torah uses that silence as acknowledging. You acknowledge that you owe the person $100. Had you not owed the $100, you would protest. You'd say it's not true. So unless you could explain your silence, that would make sense to the court. The court uses your silence as acknowledging it. Let's see if anyone's having a hard time getting in. As acknowledging it. So over here also you have to be silent. So when it comes to marriage, when a woman is quiet and she says she's so the quiet is because for the marriage to be in a way that's not a clashing, so she's silent, but her silence is acknowledged. So it says, like it says, a person says that my soul is like dirt to everything, to everyone. The koltia. I'm like, so I have no image. And then like the pasuk continues, that's how you could become a true opening to Hashem's Torah, is by having the foundation of bittul. This is the idea that we're saying. We're learning about the tzayin. The tzayin, the sheep, as the animal of bittul, of nullification. We learned this a few times. This is like the offer, which is in the earth of the Mishkan. What does it mean? The karka, the offer in the karka of the Mishkan. What's the Alter Rebbe adding here? It's not just earth. It's an earth, but it's the earth that creates the foundation for there to be on that earth the Mishkan of Hashem. So how do you become the Mishkan of Hashem? How does Hashem rest within you? Is by being offer. When you're offer, then there could be a Mishkan on you. Then you are your soul is a machin, a place that could be a Mishkan, a place that can rest the light of Hashem, which is Ein Sof Baruch, which is infinite, because you're finite. So if you're going to be expressive, You're going to say, I do. So it clashes, even if your intentions are good, because you're limited. So how do you make sure that you should be a total Mishkan for Hashem? You're the offer of the Mishkan. You're the base. You're the ground, the space. So then you could be truly in the tselem of Hashem, not in your own tselem. Means you don't have only the components of Hashem, but you actually, Hashem expresses himself through you. And in all your components of love and fear, speech, thought, and action is all an expression of God's 7 midos. And this is what it means, a yifas Torah, the shape, right? So we said that the yifas Torah means the shape of Rachel, that all her limbs are proportionate, that she's, and how do you have all your limbs to be proportionate in a beautiful way? Is by being Rachel, by being Nelam, by being Bittel, and Hashem expresses himself through you. Shitarabam kol amidas b'shleimus, that all the midas could light through you in a completion, in a full way. Ubiyoifim, and in their full beauty, as they are above. So there's a lot of components here. It's not just the idea that you're limited. It's also more than that. It's part of the limitation is the ability to be pure in the emotion, right? What is a disproportionate person's? If a person's body is not in proportions, and the whole means what does it mean when you have yifas Torah? Yifas Torah means that you look at the person in its entirety and you say, this is a beautiful person. The body looks beautiful, the proportion is beautiful. So the if you're going to have too much chesed, right? It's not proportionate. Too little gvura. If you're creating it in your image, not in God's image, so you may have all the components, but the components don't make up a beautiful image. To have yifas Torah, you have to have the bittul. And Hashem, because it's infinite, and it comes out in a beautiful way, then you're an expression of that beauty. You're a mirror of that beauty. This means that Rachel was Yifat Toar. What was the beauty of Rachel? Rachel is because she was Rachel. It means not that Rachel was beautiful. What she represents was the vessel for her to be beautiful, which is her silence, her bittul. Like it says, a sheep before she was shared, she's silent. It's the silence of Rachel that allows for her to be beautiful. It means her beauty comes from her silence. Versus Leah, which Leah is the 7 midos, the 6 midos, the way it is in expression. But even still, that is only external beauty. It's chitonius, right? The body shape is in chitonius. So you're in line, your external being, you make your midos, and your, of course, your machshavah divrei ma'aseh, which is even a levush, which is a garment, that the speech, action, and thought, it's of course chitzonius, external, but even the midos are external. Shema avaviyir machshavah divrei ma'aseh, it's all chitzonius. It's your love, your fear. It means it's all within the expressions, that you allow your expressions to be expressed godliness in its pure way. But that's still external beauty. How do you have real inner beauty? It's the yearning of the heart, the passion of the heart towards Hashem. That's not just an expression. It's a state of being. That you're a person's pashut with the passion of the heart of Hashem. Then it's the inner light of the infinite of Hashem. Less machshavet tfisa, can't be grasped at all, and that's shining through. That's why it's feeling with this passionate feeling. And when that infinite, the yifas mara, the reusa diliba, the yearning of the heart, the part of godliness that can't even be defined, shines somewhat within a person, that gives off a ray, a mara, an expression of beauty that's not because of the shape of the body or what have you. It's just coming through the person. She's ziv klaster panim. It's how the beauty of the face. That's why it says when Hashem yifas mara is the panim shapnimis miskalabai, that a person's inner beauty comes out. Like it says that a person who is excited about an idea, their face shines. So what's the tzavu panav? What's the shine? Is an inner expression that you can't even define. It's just shining through your face. right? Sometimes you see a person, you don't know, why are you shining? Like in a person's at a simcha. A lot of times at a simcha, a person shines. Why? Because the simcha reveals the pneumius, an inner dimension of the person that can't even be described. And it comes out only certain times. And this is what it means that God should shine his face towards us. And we should reflect that. That's the Yifas Mara. So Rachel has both an inner beauty and an external beauty. And that's represented by the Jewish people to have the inner connection that we just, our tools that we have, the midos that we have, is not an expression of ourselves, but an expression of Hashem. Therefore, it's infinite, it's limitless. And then even the ray that manifests from our face is even in a more internal Ru'usa Deliba yearning of the heart that we have, that's a reflection of the yearning that God has towards us. How do we get this? How do you get this inner beauty, this inner ray that should radiate from your face? Is also from Bittul, Rachel. That's the third level, not just B'chol Levavcha, B'chol Nafshecha, with your should we call it the components of yourself, but that's the B'chol Meidecha, with all your inner, your might. And that's the ability when a person reaches B'chol Meidecha, which is the idea of Mesiras Nefesh, the idea of Ru'usa Deliba, the yearning, the passion of the heart. So then you could bring down from the highest levels, that you could bring it down even all the way from the Zroya into the world, the Zroya from the arms to the world, to bring down the inner light, the pneumius light of Hashem. And that's a person who finds the beauty of the woman. It means that we could connect to the Yifas ben Hashem, the beauty of the woman in Knesset Yisrael. The Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people are called the wife, the bride of Hashem. And the Hashem is the chassan, is the groom. So the Yafa ben Hashem is that we're a complete bride to God. And we have our Yifas Toar and Yifas Mara. We have our limbs, our midos are in sync. Because of our bittul to Hashem, we're able to express all the midos of Hashem. It's in a proportionate, beautiful way, and our face radiates with the inner desire we have towards Hashem. So this, therefore, Shirim says, what does Shlomo Melech say? What happens? That's only a person who could achieve that level. What about a person who can't achieve that level? Can't achieve the level of Yifas Torah? Can't achieve the level of bittul? That your whole being is an expression of God's existence within you. Your whole being, your midos, all the parts of you that should define yourself, how you love, how you fear, how you're netzach, how you're hoid, how you acknowledge, how you connect yesod, how all those things is an expression of Hashem. That's a high level that demands tremendous bittul. If what radiates from you a beauty is a radiate of your inner yearning towards Hashem, because it's an expression of God's inner yearning towards you. Yar Hashem Panav Elecha, God is turning his face, his radiant face towards you, and you mirror that expression. That's a high level. What happens in Loitei Dilach? You don't know. You can't connect to that level. The word das is to connect. You can't bring the beauty of the woman, the beauty of the kala of the bride, the beauty of Rachel into your existence. It's not something you can identify with. You can't either, there's a problem in the bittul, or there's a problem somewhere along the line in your avoda. That's not Teda. You don't have that. You can't connect to that idea. As he says, is explained in another place. There are neshamas that are called the seed of man. Being that they're the seed of man, so they have tremendous das. Das is the connection, the part of the mind that connects to an idea. And because of that, they're able to manifest this idea of Yifas Torah, Yifas Mara. They could be Yafa ben Hashem, a beautiful woman. But these are the souls of the world of Atzilus. This would be a comparison of a person like Rashbi. Rab Shimon Bar Yochai is that kind of soul, which is Yafa ben Hashem. But there's those are other souls that are called seed of an animal. She'ein boy, it doesn't have the das. Top of page 14. She'ein boy, das doesn't have the connection. Like he says, the Alter Rebbe says, like us, that we're the souls of Biyav, the world of creation. We don't have that bittul. We come from another place. By definition, the world of creation is separate. And that separateness doesn't allow for the das to connect, that we should be able to be such a vessel that our expression of our midos and what we radiate is to radiate godliness. Not just because we don't know technically what we have to do. It's hard, we just can't do it. But actually, he says, what does it mean? We don't know how to have ispilus, means we can't be affected. Ispilus means when a person is nispal from something. When you know something and you didn't know it before, you're nispilus. Wow. The wow factor of godliness, we can't inspire within ourselves the wow factor of Hashem in a proper way. And we can't sustain ourselves from the understanding of godliness. It's not a sustenance to us. It's not a food to us. That's what the Shlomo Melech says. What do you do if you can't do the das? Again, he says it's not that technically you're missing the components. You can't create hispilus. You can't be inspired by it. You can't be affected. You can't be wowed by it. You can't be sustained by it. It's beyond your reach to reach that level of Yafa Benashim. So what do? How do you connect? So he says, we skipped the line of, he says, that's the idea of Lach is 50, right? Lamed is 30, Chaf is 20, is 50, which is the idea of Eine Kol Lach Yisaberu, that the Kol is everything, it's completion. The number 50 is completion. So Eine Kol Lach Yisaberu, we turn towards God. So he connects that idea. It doesn't say exactly how he connects that idea. Let's go further. So what do you do if you can't? If you can't connect? Go in the path of the sheep. Tzayin, what's tzayin? Tzayin is the word sheep. Is mlashon tz'i, means from the word to go out. And you have to find something that's out of the space of limitations. Meaning to say, go out and find something that goes out of the norm. Seder Shtalshalos is the system of creation. In the system of creation, we said, if you're a seed of a man from the world of Atzilus, and you can connect to that das. But there's a way to spring to a higher level that's out of the limitations, that's out of even limiting even though if I'm limited myself, I'm still I'm not so disconnected that I can't bring this is the idea of going out of this idea of Pesach, right? Pesach is to spring out. Dilug, to jump out. How do you jump out? It's all connect. If you connect to the forefathers, if you can, this means in the system of creation you're limited, and therefore your ability to connect to Hashem in the way of bittul, that you should be like a zera adam, like a seed of man, is limited. But if you find the tz'i, if you find the part that's going out of the norm, the thing that's going out of Seder Shtalshalos, he calls it Tzayin Lavan, the sheep of Lavan, that Yaakov worked with the sheep of Lavan. Lavan in a high level is Lavan Elin, is the whiteness. When there's something white, there's not all colors are equal. It's all white, all clear. So from that level, there's no difference between Zera Adam and Zera Behemah, the seed of man and seed of animal. The Kol HaVayda, he says, all this that Yaakov worked, Yaakov Lavan Sheish Anim Tzanech, he says, I worked 6 years for your tzayin, for your sheep. What is that? What does he say? How do Imlei Teidilach? The answer is in Mechinas Shisha Sidra Mishnah. What Alter Rebbe is going to answer over here is there's 2 ways to get Yafa Ben Hashem. How do you get to be a person connected to the beauty of Hashem? How do you become an expressive of beauty of Hashem? One is through his baininess, through contemplation, connecting technically, making yourself void, and being so connected to Hashem, you have the das, that you're able to connect to the way that your midas express God midas, and your inner beauty expresses God inner beauty. So that's working within yourself. But it means you're finding within yourself to become a tool, to become a vessel of an expression of Hashem. But if you don't have that connection, so you can't connect that way, that the pieces don't go together. So what do? There's another way. And what's that? Something that's beyond all that. And what's all beyond all that? Torah. When you study Torah, seemingly you're learning a halacha that says, what should you do? Should I, if I plant my tree, or whatever the halacha is from the 6 parts of the Mishnah, Shishi Sidra Mishnah. But that's God's inner wisdom. That's the Loiv and Elyon. That's the whiteness. And if you connect to the Torah, then you could get, that's Teidilach. That's how you get to Yafa Ben Hashem. That's what Yaakov says, Sheish Shanim, I worked 6 years for your tzayin. What is the 6 years of the tzayin? To get to your tzayin, to your tz'i, to the part that goes out, the lavan, the tzayin lavan, is Shisha Sidra Mishnah. I studied Torah, the Mishnah is. This comes out of God's inner pleasure. And God's inner pleasure is limitless. And if you could connect to the inner pleasure, and how do you connect to the God's inner pleasure? Not by his bindiness, because his bindiness you can't. Contemplation won't get you there. You don't have the inner ability to connect there. You're a seed of an animal, but you're a person and you could study Torah. Everyone could study Torah. God gave Torah to everyone. So how do you do that? By connecting to the Oinige Elyon, Asher Kiddishanu b'mitzvaysav, that you sanctified us. And the word Asher also means the pleasure of Hashem is in the mitzvaysav, in the mitzvahs. Asher hu b'chinas Oinig's pleasure. V'seira v'shavapeh nikras prat milashinu peret v'aylos. Torah, the oral Torah, which is the study of the Mishnah, is called prat. What's prat means? Also, it doesn't mean the details, but also means from peret to aylos means there's a kind of there's clusters of grapes and there's single grapes. Clusters of grapes represents everything properly. That's a proper connection. We have these stray grapes that's aylos that are on the vine. What does it mean that it's not part of a cluster? Just odd grapes that are on the vine. It's not part of the system. And if you attach yourself to those things, then you could jump beyond the system. How do you go from one level to the next level? Is through the non-clustered grapes, not systematically. It's basically you have to jump the system. And what does it jump the system mean? To connect to God's inner pleasure is studying God's Torah. This is what it means. That the person became very, very, he broke through very strongly. And he had a lot of sheep. How did he get to the tzi'i, to the out? How do you get to the inner pleasure of Hashem? If you can't do it in the systematic way, is by studying Torah. When it's all your might, like we said before, what is Yifas Torah of Rachel? That's your own moed. It means through your own hisbaininess, your own work, you could reach the inner beauty and the outer beauty of Hashem and be a reflection of that. But that's ma'od shalcha. Kol chad lefim shur delay. Each person according to their level, and maybe your level is not deep enough to be able to express God's inner beauty. Mashenkin ma'od stam, aval ma'od. But if you have double ma'od, bechinas ma'od legabe b'kol bechinas ma'od, it's more than everything, and that is the connection to the prat, to the oilis, to the oisher, to the pleasure of Hashem through studying Torah. It means how does a person? It's an amazing idea. What is Torah? Torah is that God's inner desire is expressed in the mundane laws, and the ability for a person to connect to God's inner desire. If you can't do it the way through systematically contemplation, self work, and you just don't have the ability to do it, you could study Torah. That's what you should do. When you study Torah, you're connecting to God's understanding, God's pleasure, God's oisha, understanding the laws, not the clusters of grapes. So each individual grape, each mitzvah. And that connects vayifritz each moed. It's more than the moedecha if you did it on your own. What's the word vayifritz? He broke through. Like the word paretz, to break through. He's able to go to the highest level. He was able to get to the tzayin, to the part that goes out, the tzi'i, which we said is the love and is the higher than say the shtalshlus. From the infinite light, and that brought down everything else. Once he had the tzayin, then he was able to have shvachim and ravadim. He was able to get other levels of bittul, shar, v'chamar, all the levels that he had, and later he announces it to Esav in this week's parsha. Because he was a chariot towards Hashem. How is he able to get to the tzayin? He was able to do it all spiritually. That he put up the sticks and the fairest. He was also able to dig the wells to find the inner strength, all in ways that it's not familiar to us. It's not the way we do Torah mitzvahs, right? We don't do tefillin through the sticks. He was so high. He was able to bring down the infinite light of Torah, the Ma'aseh on his own, that everything he does is an expression of God. So even though maybe he's representing an idea that's higher, that's different than Yifas Torah, Yifas Mara, but he was able to connect to the Oisher through everything he did because he was on such a high level that he knew how to bring down the infinite light in all kinds of ways. We don't have this power to start doing the sticks and all the things that he was doing that was able to bring down the tzayin rabbis, all the sheep that he got. How do we do? We can only do with what's already available to us. And what is that? Through the Torah mitzvahs that was given to us. That is the path of the sheep. Bechinas akvayim also means from the word the heel. Seifdarg in the lowest level. So it may seem to us that we're not all spiritual and mystical, like what Yaakov was able to do. We're learning our law. The Torah says, don't plant your tree next to someone's wall, and the roots are going to break the wall. That's a simple idea that everyone could accept. But that's how God decided the idea of the law is. So that's the akev. That's where the heel means we're studying something. We're connecting to something that seems so mundane, right? If you look at someone who's studying a technical law, and Yaakov Avinu is mystically with sticks and stripes and bringing down godliness, you say, well, Yaakov, that's all so high and spiritual. I don't even understand what he's doing. But here, I'm just studying a law that says I shouldn't break someone's wall. That makes sense. I mean, it's logical, and in theory, it's mundane. I mean, it's normal. The courts would say the same thing. This is how God decided the rule should be, and therefore you're connecting to God through the akev, through the heel. Seifdarg in the lowest level. The way Torah mitzvahs comes into the physical laws, and same thing. You take an estrog. It's not a concept. You have to take the physical citrus fruit. And it says, what does it mean to get your young sheep or young goats? He says, Heima mazoles blushin God gedi v'sinik loi. It's brought down in the Gemara. It says that person to bring down the mazel. It says in the Gemara Shabbos. It says it's mazli mazali, and I shouldn't be tired. It's a way of a moiri. Person tries to do all kind of methods. It's kind of avodah zarah, but the idea of bringing down a mazel. So what does this mean? He calls it meaning to say, why is it avodah zarah? Because things in the world go according to the cosmos. Mazel machim, mazel masher. There's a special mazel that makes a person smart, and mazel that makes a person rich. It says, we say in B'zayis Bracha, from the sun comes the tefua. Mazel hashemesh mashpia tefua. From the mazel of the sun comes the shpi, abundance of wheat. This means also not the negative way of the avodah zarah, but the way also the fact is that Torah mitzvahs comes through, manifests through the laws of how physical things work. I mean, physical things work is that you have to. It's like you can't just study an idea. You have to make sure you don't break the guy's wall, or you have to make sure you pick up the citrus fruit. It's not a concept. And assume tachsim was also you parnis aisim me'oinegalian. From there you could pasture in the inner joy of Hashem through doing the mitzvahs, but the mitzvahs have to be done the way they are in Gashmis in the physical world. Al Mishkanei Saroyim. What does it mean, Mishkanei Saroyim? The place of the dwelling of the shepherds. Pirsh Royim Hem Zaim Royim. These are the 7 shepherds of all the Jewish people. Avram, Yaakov, Moshe. What makes them a shepherd? Not that they're holy. We've learned this many times. What's the difference between the 8 princes and the 7 shepherds? The 8 princes is a concept of holiness. They're nasich. They're chaninim ben daisa, right? They're holy God's servants. But the Raya as a shepherd is how he affects the flock, and he gives us. He's mamshech to us. He gives us that we could participate in the inner pleasure of Hashem, not just because we're in this world, but because we do things, and by doing the mitzvah ma'asiyos, and that's what it means to connect to the shepherds who teach us how to be the best people we can be. So we, the forefathers themselves, they're a chariot to God, but we can't be like that. But we could be affected by that. We have to be in the place of the shepherds. It doesn't say to become a shepherd, but be in the place to be affected by the shepherds. We should be the vessels to take in, to be able to perfect ourselves to the limits of our abilities. In our right side to be properly chesed. When a person has chesed, you're connecting to Avram. When you give charity and acts of kindness, you're connecting to the attribute of Avram. We know that in the six parts of the Mishnayos represent also the 6 midos. Zroim is the part of Mishnayos that's connected to Chesed. Why is this called the resting place of the shepherds? Because when you go to the resting place of the shepherds, that's being influenced by the shepherds, by Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, within our abilities. That's what it means to pasture the your young sheep. That you shouldn't just be to the pasture, but you should reach the level of al above. Eventually, you can get to the place of the shepherds themselves. I'm gonna stop here because the next part he goes into. This is all the Sheishanim. He goes into the 14 years that he worked before that, which is the levels of Leah and Rachel. And you have to redeem the inner soul that gets captive. Very appropriate to what's going on here. Idea if you can't if you can't bring it from above down, you could go. There's two paths of Hashem. So we'll stop here. I think this is a good place to stop. Laila Tov, everyone. Shavua Tov. We should have only a safe week for everyone for Klal Yisrael. Take care.